Emergency crews work around the clock to keep residents safe after a storm tears through the region. Some lost everything, and others are just thankful it wasn't worse.
I'm still fortunate that we didn't get any more damage than this.
Tonight, your hometown station takes you through the path of destruction. This special edition of WDBJ 7 at 5 starts right now.
And good evening, everyone. I'm Robin Reed.
And I'm Sarah Maki, in tonight for Jean Jadhunt. We are bringing you continuing coverage of the storm damage in our region today.
And we can do it with the help of Air 7, which captured video from Amherst County first thing this morning. And as you can see, wow, many homes were in the path of this destructive storm, just one of the areas hit by the tornadoes.
Chief Meteorologist Brent Watts has been in the Elin area of Amherst County throughout the day, and he has a look at the damage from the ground and above using Air 7.
Hi, Sarah. Hi, Robin. Yes, it has been definitely a day that's filled with a lot of emotion. I tell you, I have not seen this kind of damage since the Appomattox County tornado several years back, and the damage is definitely one of those that shows of a strong tornado and one that moved through extremely fast. The National Weather Service is here in the Elin area. They're going to be, they know it's a tornado. It's just how strong was this? Was it EF2, EF3, EF4? And that will play a big part in just how historic this event was. Looking back, the last time Amherst County had a tornado, July 1990, and before that, May 1976. Both of those were very small tornadoes, so this one a much, much bigger storm as it came through. It's easy to see the damage from the ground, but even a bigger perspective from above using Air 7. The flyover from Air 7 clearly shows the tornado's path, ripping through the tree line, throwing them in all directions, heading straight for Nottoway Drive. Nearly all the homes in the neighborhood had damage, but the ones closest to the tornado's center suffered the worst impacts. Even an RV can be seen blown down on its side between two demolished homes. The devastation continued across the street in the Hunt Ridge neighborhood, where Spruce Craig was working on his patio at the time.
Yes, sir, it was on the carport, and all I saw was the heavy rain. It was dark, and I didn't see a funnel cloud. Just absolutely nothing. It's probably, I'd say in 30 seconds or less, it was over with.
Now, we talked to Spru. He said this thing was so fast as it came through. No funnel cloud. That's why we always tell you guys never wait until you see a tornado, because a lot of times around here, it's not going to be that textbook tornado that you see in photos like they have out west. This is going to be one that's a lot of times shrouded by rain, and you'll never even see the tornado within that, but quite clearly it was in there today. So we'll hear more from the National Weather Service. We're also hearing from a lot of residents that were impacted by this, and Leanna Scachetti has been talking to folks today. Leanna, what kind of stories have you heard? I'm sure a lot of emotion coming out of this type of damage.
Absolutely. Just driving down Route 130 here in Amherst, you can see people cleaning up debris all over the side of the road. Homes that have been leveled just down the street, homes that were barely even touched. We spoke with one man who was getting ready to put on a sweatshirt, put on some shoes in case the storm hit his house, and that is just when the tornado hit his home. He said he was trapped by the debris and couldn't get out until he was rescued by a neighbor. Route 130 in the Elon area is littered with debris. Most of what's in David Neighbor's yard used to be his home.
It's a mess. Oh, Lord, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Neighbor says he was home when the storm hit.
Let me get off the phone and get my sweatshirt on, my shoes on, so I could get out of here. About that time, the whole side of the house caved in. Windows, doors, and everything just came in, glass flying everywhere, so I just dropped down behind the sofa.
The roof and doors collapsed on top of him, trapping him inside.
Yeah, I ran up these steps to get to him.
His girlfriend's son lives next door and came over as soon as he could.
We busted this window out to get to him, and he was trapped back behind in front of the door.
They're thankful to be alive and thankful for the community's support.
Yeah, a lot of people helping. That's great. That's great.
Fortunately, Mr. Neighbor is only left with a few cuts and scratches. We did speak with one man whose son was home at the time that the storm hit, Brett. He said his son was actually blown with the debris of his home into the front yard, knocked unconscious. He's getting surgery today for a couple cracked ribs, fractures in his arms, and a couple stitches. But it seems like for the most part, everybody here is doing okay. There's just a lot of cleanup involved.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, when you look at homes like that and the structure, just gone,
right,
completely, all the debris everywhere else, it's a wonder that there were not more injuries with that. So I know that we've talked with Gary, who's with the emergency management here in Amherst County. He said that they've been looking throughout the region today. They've had canine units that were out searching, making sure they didn't miss anybody because there's just so much devastation here, and they did not find any other injuries. And I tell you, with a storm that moved through that fast and that powerful, it's a wonder that didn't. So a lot of folks did heed the warnings and got to shelter very quickly. We're going to hear more from some of the folks that rescued some family members that were trapped in one of the homes. That's coming up at 6 o'clock. Plus, we'll have another aerial view from Air 7 of the damage here in Amherst County.
All right, Brent, we look forward to that continued reporting. Some pretty good news stories considering the amount of damage coming out of Amherst County. Thank you very much. Well, the Campbell County area also saw a lot of damage, and that's where we find WDBJ7's anchor Logan Sherrill tonight. Logan has been kind of detailing what he's seen around him, and Logan, it's impressive just to look at the pictures.
And Robin, it really is. It's incredible to just see what's right over my shoulder. And this is some of the destruction that we have seen right here along Timberlake Road. This is the carpet one floor and home. The entire front of this business is gone. And we're going to give you a look at what else happened along this road from Air 7. Air 7 was above Timberlake Road this morning, where you can see some of the destruction left behind by this powerful storm. Like here over this parking lot where a Burger King, building supply store, and medical facility took a direct hit. From the ground, tires on cars are flat and windows blown out. The medical facility even had an entire wall ripped down. Just behind the building, a trailer flipped on its side and other vehicles took heavy damage from this light pole falling on them. A few hundred yards down Timberlake Road, the front of this carpet and flooring business is gone. The majority of the debris thrown through the parking lot, even the awning more than 30 feet up a tree over 100 yards away. There was an employee that was in the business when the storm hit. Thankfully, he was uninjured. And what you're seeing now is really what you'll see all across the entire path of destruction of this storm is people in the cleanup process. That's really is what is next as we bring in WDBJ7's Ashley Ann. Ashley, you saw a lot of these people out here. You've talked with a lot of these people. Yeah. These families who have lost nearly everything, what are they saying?
Absolutely. Logan, I spoke with several homeowners and residents today in the area, and many of them are comparing this damage or the powerfulness of this storm to the derecho of 2012, as many of us remember. Now, one woman I did speak with, one resident who has lived in the area for about 4 years, says she was absolutely shocked at how powerful this storm system really was.
And then we came up and saw all of the destruction. Everybody was out in the streets.
Destruction is what this strong storm left in its wake after tearing through Campbell County Sunday night. Jessica Eubank says she and her family decided to take cover after a large tree fell in their backyard.
And right as we were going down the steps, it really does sound like a freight train. I know people say that all the time, but I've heard that sound once before, and I heard it again, and it's just something you don't forget, and I knew exactly what was happening.
But the Eubank family wouldn't see the real damage until the next day.
We actually had to relocate to a friend's house last night, and our children stayed with our family. So coming back this morning was quite a bit of a shock compared to last night. We couldn't really...
Now, obviously, Eubank's home wasn't the only one that was damaged by this powerful storm. Logan, as you probably saw as you were driving in, many homes on her street and then also on Timberlake Road saw severe damage today.
Ashley, thank you so much for your work you've done out here. You talked to the man that was in this business, that was thankfully uninjured, very shaken up.
Yes, he did not want to go on camera, but thankful that how things turned out.
Yeah,
sure.
and it really is. Thank you, Ashley, again. Like just the damage that this storm has caused in such a tight, precise area, just a couple of 100 yards on either side of the path of destruction of this storm. Buildings completely left unharmed. And Sarah, really one of the great things is in this path of destruction, a lot of times you see the best in people. As we were standing here right before we went live, 2 carfuls of folks that had food for people that were without power. They said, where do we go to drop food off? And that just really shows how great people can be in the face of destruction like this.
Yeah, we did hear in Amherst that they are also having a lot of people bringing donations and food and things like that. They want to keep it as controlled as possible so they can make sure that that is an efficient process. We're going to be checking in with you guys later on. Thanks so much, Logan.
Well, thousands of Danville utility customers are still in the dark tonight after last night's storm. That storm brought strong winds, knocking down huge trees and power lines. WDBJ 7's Hannah Story has more.
Crews have been working hard all day here on Westover Drive to restore power as quickly as possible. The crews are completely replacing several broken poles along Westover Drive. Luckily, no one was in this home when the storm uprooted the tree and it destroyed this house on Oak Haven Road. Power lines are still all over the ground in the area. Danville Utilities Director Jason Gray says the storm that passed through the Westover Drive area is near a substation. He reminds residents to give the crews room to work.
A lot of trees that are laying on lines that we need to get to. We don't want homeowners or people trying to go out with chainsaws and try to cut them off themselves. That could be very dangerous.
Gray says the crews are working as quickly as they can. Utilities Director Jason Gray says he doesn't have an estimate right now for when power will be restored. In Danville, Hannah Story, WDBJ 7.
And you are watching WDBJ 7 at 5. Coming up, people in Craig County dealt with their share of storm damage as well. Our senior reporter Joe DeShiel continues our team coverage in just a moment.
Welcome back. The National Weather Service has confirmed that a tornado with winds topping 100 miles per hour touched down in Craig County.
And the National Weather Service sent out their team to examine the damage there. They spoke with the residents of the neighborhood first thing this morning. And WDBJ 7's Joe DeShiel is live tonight near Newcastle. So, Joe, this is an amazing story that this would happen up in Craig County.
Well, that's right, Robin. We have seen substantial damage here. Lots of trees on the ground, siding, shingles torn from buildings, and in one case, a pickup truck tossed on top of another car. Jeff Van Dyke was on his way home when the storm came through. He noticed some damage as he arrived on Hawkins Lane, but it wasn't until he drove up his driveway that he saw the worst of it.
Had a storage building here. It's gone. Then, of course, the vehicles were flipped upside down. Sure. And the detached garage suffered buckling on both sidewalls. No, today is pickup day, so it's just trying to clean up a little bit and making sure everything is secure and mitigate any further damage.
He'll move quickly to repair the roof, but Van Dyke says it will be a slow process to clean up the rest and move on. The meteorologist with the National Weather Service told me that he believed the winds were in excess of 90 miles per hour. So, Robin, this was, in fact, a dangerous storm, and residents of this neighborhood are telling me they feel fortunate that no one was injured.
And as the gentleman said, it was pickup day, and just then we were looking at a pickup truck upside down sitting on top of another car. What an amazing story up there, and we're glad that nobody was seriously hurt. Joe DeShiel, thank you for our update now on Craig County.
The damage was extensive, hitting so many parts of our viewing area. The whole time you, our viewers, were right there sending home videos and photos to us. So here's a look at some of the experiences you shared directly from you.
It's going to get real bad real soon.
One car was running a dashboard camera while driving through Danville when they got this.
Trees are going down, Dad.
Tree branches breaking off. They pull over to avoid down power lines. But soon they come across this tree in the middle of the road blocking their way.
Holy cow. Look.
Wow.
David Baltazar caught video of these strong winds and rain moving through Danville near the airport. And you can see that rain coming in waves in this home video from the same area. Glenn sent us this photo of hail collected in Fancy Gap. And River City TV got this aerial video showing just some of the damage on Monday. We are bringing you continuing coverage at 6 of the storm damage in our region. Just stick with WDBJ 7 on air on our website and on our Facebook page.
And to make this kind of severe weather, we have to have a huge temperature change. And guess what? Christian Johansson is talking about that next.
Yeah, we're talking about wind chills making an impact as you head out the door tomorrow morning. Teens and 20s across the area. Will it stick around? We'll talk about that coming up in your forecast.
Now, from the BerglandCars.com Weather Center, here's your hometown forecast.
The cold air behind this front continues to push into the area. Look at this, 30 in Bluefield, 36 in Lewisburg. We're now 49 in Roanoke. Don't worry, folks that are still in the 50s. That cold air continues to move in, and we'll see those temperatures drop as we head into the overnight hours. A little bit of clearing in some regions, but I think we'll see partly cloudy conditions across the area. Mostly cloudy up into the mountains. We might even see some flurries as well in some portions of the New River Valley up into the western slope of the Appalachian Mountains as we continue to see these strong northwest winds in this area of upper level area of low pressure just kind of spinning just up to our north. So there's still a potential to see a few flurries, maybe some light accumulation, especially in the mountains up into the highlands. Partly cloudy for tonight. Mountain flurries here will taper off as we head into the early morning hours, but we're left with some very cold air rolling into the area for tomorrow morning. And with that, we are talking about wind chills being a factor. For the next couple of hours here until 8 p.m., we do have a wind advisory from Roanoke down through Grayson County along the Blue Ridge here, where we have the potential, especially at higher elevation, to see those wind speeds maybe maxing out around 40 to 50 miles per hour here. We will see some cool conditions for tomorrow, a little more sunshine in the forecast, a little warmer on Wednesday. The winds look to stick around through much of the week. We'll see another weak front come through Thursday and Friday, cooling things down. But I tell you what, much calmer conditions here for the next 5 to 7 days.
Thanks, Christian. The open casting call for Big Brother wrapped up at Hart Kia in Salem. Even after it got underway this afternoon, more than 50 house guest hopefuls showed up to show off their stuff. They had 2 minutes in front of our WDBJ7 cameras, try and sell themselves, and we might see just some of those faces on this summer's season of Big Brother.
We'll see. You're watching WDBJ 7 at 5, and coming up, never forget. Remembering the victims of the Virginia Tech shootings 11 years later. We're live from the campus next.
The Virginia Tech community is remembering the 32 victims who were killed in the mass tragedy 11 years ago today. One of the biggest moments of the weekend happened earlier today. WDBJ 7's Eamon O'Mara is live at the April 16th memorial. So Eamon, the wreath laying that took place this morning, I'm sure it was very emotional.
Yes, it was, Sarah. Just before 9:43, University President Tim Sands, his wife, Dr. Laura Sands, and Provost Cyril Clark came out to present the wreaths on the memorial and hold a moment of silence at each victim's individual memorial. The Virginia flag is at half-mast as the Virginia Tech Rescue Squad leads the wreath-carrying group to honor the victims of the 2007 attack.
It's important to take that time and to stop and to reflect on those 32 people that we lost 11 years ago.
A small crowd of family, friends, and other members of the Virginia Tech family gathered around the memorial in silence for the presentation.
Students today, even though they may have been in elementary or middle school at that time, it's a part of this community.
Among the visitors is Pete Macedo, who barely moved from this kneeling position in front of one of the memorials. A former Virginia Tech employee and Blacksburg resident, he was friends with 3 of the victims, but can only bring himself to visit campus on this day every year.
I knew a lot of people that knew them, and they can't all be here today, and they aren't around here. So if I can be here sort of representing them, that's what I want to do.
While he knelt or sat in silence, he was joined in support by President Sands and his wife and the Hokie Bird, who stayed with Macedo nearly the whole time he was here.
To have people that don't know me support me, I think was representative of what happened as a result of what happened here.
Now, still left for today is a display of artifacts like letters and cards the university received after the tragedy. Those will be on display in the library for the next few days. Also, Sarah, that candle you just saw in the video and over my left shoulder will be extinguished tonight at 11:59 and carried back into Burris Hall.
All right, thank you so much for wrapping up that. Thanks, Eamon.
On the stock market today, the Dow climbed 213 points in a broad rally. Here's a look at the numbers. We're bringing you continuing coverage at 6 tonight of the storm damage in our region. Stick with WDBJ 7 on air, on our website, and on our Facebook page. And while you're at it, grab a coat for tomorrow.
Yeah, wind chills will be a huge factor for tomorrow morning. Make sure you layer up before you head out the door.
You've been warned.
We'll be back at 6. See you then.